In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to design this money card in Cricut Design Space. The first thing we're going to do is go over to our images, our shapes, and pick the square shape with the rounded edges. The size of the card is 4 inches wide by 5 inches high. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the opening at the bottom of the card. So you want to go into your shapes again, and then you want to pick the rectangle shape. Now you want to size it to 3 inches wide by 0.8 inches high. Drag it down to wherever you want it located on the card. And then you want to select both the card and the rectangle shape. You want to center it vertically. And then you want to right click and choose slice. Now you want to get rid of that piece so that you can have the opening on the card. So just delete that. And now you want to go in and find the image that you're going to have as the image for your card. So I'm going into my uploads. And I'm going to scroll down until I find that image with the red and black background on it. Yeah, I know I have a lot of images in here. Sorry. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay, there it is. So I'm going to select that and add it to my canvas. And now I'm going to size this down to 4 by 5, 4 inches wide by 5 inches high, which is the size of the money card. And once I do that, I'm actually going to want to size it a little bit larger than the card. So I'm going to go with 5 inches wide by 5.5 inches high. And then I'm going to select both of those objects, and I want to center it vertically and horizontally. And then I'm going to right click it and I'm going to slice again. And I'm going to discard all of the parts that I don't need. So I only want to keep the part that is the shape of the card with that image on it. So that's all I want to keep. I want to get rid of this here as well. Moving it over to the side. Actually, I think I'm just going to hide that because I'm going to keep it for later. So I'm just going to hide that. And now what we're going to do is create the openings at the top. So again, we're going to go into our shapes and we're going to pick the rectangle that's with the rounded edges. The size, we're going to have the width be 0.566 and the height 0.157. Then we're going to create the circle. So we have to go back into our shapes and select the circle, and we want to size that to 0.216. Now we want to add the circle to the rectangle. Select both of them and then do align vertically. Now we want to right click it and hit combined and weld. Now it is one object. Now we want to place that where we want it to be located on the card. So here I'm dragging it over the card, and then I'm going to select the card as well as that shape. And I'm going to go to align and I want to center that vertically. Now I'm going to right click and select slice. And I'm going to get rid of the pieces that I no longer want. and delete those, and now I have my hole at the top. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the word Merry Christmas. So select your text, type in Merry Christmas. Of course, my computer is kind of, taking its time about doing things. So I'm typing in Merry Christmas whenever it decides that it wants to. Here we go. And I have Merry on one line and Christmas on the other, and I'm going to make sure that I have it aligned left. Then I'm going to push over Christmas a little bit. And the font that I want to use is called Lemon Squeezy. So I'm going to search for that in my system fonts because that's a font that I downloaded myself. I believe I got that off of thefont.com. So here's the word Merry Christmas in the Lemon Squeezy font. So now what I'm doing is I am going to change the spacing, the line spacing for the words. So I'm decreasing it until I bring Christmas up to where I want it to fall under the word Merry. And I'm pulling it over to the side, and it needs to go up a little bit further. So just however you want it to be, however you want it on, your card, just play around with it until you get it to where you like it. And I could have done this in 2 different text boxes, but I didn't want to. So, but anyway, so I'm sizing it now to place on the card. And I believe I have it going all the way across the card. Here I'm changing the color to white so I can actually see what it is that I'm doing. And so I'm going to drag this over a little bit further so that I can see, actually make it as wide as the other one. So let me move that a little bit more, almost over to the edge. Now that I have the words placed where I want it, I'm going to create the offset so I can get the black border around the words Merry and Christmas. I'm going to change the offset amount to 0.2. I believe that's what I use, 0.2. Anywhere between 0.15 and 0.2, whatever looks good to you, just make your offset that. After I've created my offset, I actually am going to now go in and find the image of the young lady that I have on the card. So I'm going back into my uploads, and I'm going to scroll down until I find the image that I am looking for. And she should be coming up soon. There she is. This is the one I'm going to choose. I'm going to add it to the canvas. She's going to come in really large, so I'm going to have to resize her. And this image I actually got off of Etsy. And I'm going to size her up so that she fits on the card where I want her to. Now, what I'm doing here, I want to make sure that her shoes, the front of her shoes, are on the card. That back shoe, I want to make sure that it's on the card. I don't want it hanging off, because once you cut the card, I don't want that to be hanging and dangling on the end. So it'd be best for all of that to just be on the card. So I'm sizing her up to where I want her to go. And now what we're going to do is create an offset for her. So I'm going to go up to offset, and her offset I put at 0.15. I didn't want a very thick border around her, just a really small border that's going to hug her and not be just a little too much on her. So I'm going to set it at 0.15. I'm going to hit OK or apply. Well, once it decides to, because again, my computer for some reason wants to like lock up on me throughout today. Here we go. So I'm going to apply for that. And I have to go back up here and change the offset again because it's not coming down to where I want it. There it is. That's where I like it. So I'm going to hit apply here. I believe I got it. Hit apply there. Now we're all good. Hit apply again. Come on. There we go. And then I am going to select her and the offset, and I'm going to group that. Now there's a little opening in between, that little white spot right there. That's an opening that will be cut out with Cricut. I do not want that to be cut out, so I'm going to create a circle, change it to black, and I want to put that behind her, right in that area. So I'm going to send that to the back. Now I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go down to the bottom right, and I'm going to select attach. Now with that, I'm going to select Merry and Christmas because I want those to be in front of her. So I'm going to select that, group them together, and that in turn will pull them to the front, which it should. Yes. Now I'm going to play around with her. I need to move her around a little bit, maybe make her a little bit smaller. Just make some adjustments on the location of where she's at. And until, just play around with your image that you have on the side or whatever until you get them to where you want them to be. And I think this is pretty much what I want. Merry Christmas. I think I need to move that down a little bit. So I'm just going to play around with that until I get it exactly where I want it. Again, it's up to you where you want everything located. So just play around with your layout, whatever is pleasing to your eye, So now what I'm doing is I'm going to select everything and I'm going to right click it and I'm going to flatten it. So now it is all one image. And the last thing that I need to do is put in the dollar amount. So again, I'm going to go into text, type in my dollar amount, make it whatever size that I need it to be, put it in a location where I want it to be, change the color of the font. I'm going to change it to white so that I can see what I'm doing. And also it will blend in with the way that I have the card laid out with the other colors on the card. So actually I'm going to play around now with the offset. So I'm going to go in. And, oh God, my computer is really getting on my nerves right now. So I'm going to change it to white so I can see. And now I'm going to go into my offset, and I do believe I put this at 0.02. And I'm going to hit apply to that. That looks good to me. And now I am going to hit apply again because I like the way that looks. I'm going to change the color of the offset to red. Changing the color of the offset to red. That looks good to me. It's blending with the other colors in the card. Everything looks very unison. So now what I need to do is I'm going to select everything and flatten it. Giving it one final once over, I'm going to select everything on the card. I'm going to hit right click, and at the bottom I'm going to select flatten. And we're done. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye!